Hello, welcome to the program Spiritism Inspiring Lives. Today we will be reflecting about the theme Physical and Moral Likeness. And our reflections are based on the Spiritist viewpoint. Spiritism, for those who don't know, is a science which deals with the origin, nature, and destiny of the spirits and their interaction with the corporeal world. From the philosophical perspective of Spiritism, is a philosophical way how we understand ourselves as immortal beings, spirits. Also, we learn through Spiritism the theory of reincarnation, considering the immortality of the soul. No one dies, we all carry on alive, even when our physical body ends through the natural process of death on the biological level. So when we consider here today reflecting about physical and moral likeness, it is within the viewpoint that Spiritism presents us that we are beings in evolution, beings who are progressing, and we, through the theory or law of reincarnation, we come back to different physical bodies so that we can carry on evolving psychically. And in that way, as we choose to start, let's start with the first slide here that we have. That is based on questions and answers. Within the Spirit's book, as we mentioned, and here we are referring to the question 207, which has been presented by Allan Kardec to the Enlightened Spirits by saying, I quote, "Parents almost always transmit a physical likeness to their children. Do they also transmit a moral likeness?" And the answer is no, because their souls or spirits are different. The body proceeds from the body, but the spirit does not proceed from the spirit. There is no other link than blood kinship among descendants. Here we are already invited to reflect that we are not a physical body. We are expressing ourselves through a physical body. And whatever we conquer throughout the different existences, that still is impregnated within the perispirit or the astral body, and we carry on having these tendencies when we come back in a new body. So when we have the inheritance or the DNA from our parents, this is merely as we are here referred to through the blood. So sometimes we have tendencies, but on the biological level, as it says here, the moral kinship, the moral aspects or likeness, that is down to the similarity of tendencies or values that we may be developing as beings in evolution. And then we carry on still in the Spirit's book on question 207.8 in order to enlighten our own reasoning, where Allan Kardec once more referred to the enlightened beings, and then he asked, I quote, "Where does the moral likeness that sometimes exists between parents and children come from?" And the answer is, they are sympathetic spirits attracted by similarities or inclinations. Because sometimes we all know, or perhaps we ourselves have those experiences in our families on the biological level. Where does the moral likeness come from? They are sympathetic spirits, meaning spirits who probably have been lived together previously, have learned more or less the same aspects on the virtuous level, because we evolve when we talk about moral aspects or moral likeness. We are not talking about the moral aspect which is transitory and differs from different cultures and different epochs. No, we are referring to the universal moral values which are equal to every spirit in every moment, either when they are incarnate or disincarnate. So similar inclinations, similar tendencies that we already learned, because we are all on the journey of evolution. And then if you carry on in the next question, which is on the question 208, still in the Spirit's book, I quote, Don't the spirits of the parents exert an influence on their children after birth? And then it sounds like the enlightened spirits are teaching to us by saying a very great influence, because as we have already said, spirits should help one another's progress. As it is, the spirits of our parents have the mission of developing their children through education. This is a task for them. If they fail to perform it, they will be responsible. Yes, within Spiritism, considering the law of reincarnation as we mentioned, we all, as souls in evolution, we need to have a mom or a dad, so that we, through the law of reproduction, can come back and adopt a new physical body that we can carry on learning and evolving. So parents are spirits in evolution. They come before us and then we come after that, through them. And of course, the responsibility of motherhood or fatherhood is of great, great importance, because when we adopt a new physical body, we are very, very limited. We depend completely on our parents to help us, to direct us or guide us in the right path, so that we can become morally stronger, that we can make new associations, new learnings that can help us to progress as well. So responsibility means the autonomy for those who come before us, can help us, who are returning to the physical existence in order to evolve as well. So spirits, yes, parents have, if they choose to, have great influence over the child, which is an old spirit who is returning to the physical school earth once more. So it's important to see how much we can impact positively, constructively on the moral, ethical values, which are universal, are equal for everyone. They follow the natural law in the universe, which is God's law, how we can help ourselves and also them. Because as much as we help our children, which are old souls who are coming back, and we have the responsibility to guide them, to improve them, we are also helping ourselves. So it's always on both sides that we are learning. And carry on in our reflections. Here is still in the Spirit's book on question 209. I quote, "Why is it that good and virtuous parents sometimes have wicked children? In other words, why don't the good qualities of the parents always, out of affinity, attract good spirits as their children?" And the enlightened spirits are teaching to all of us by saying, wicked spirits may ask for good parents in the hope that their counsels will guide them along a better path. God often grants their wish. So again, the love of God, who created all of us, who protects all of us, who loves all of us. So sometimes parents who are more evolved spiritually, intellectually, in terms of the virtuous values in life, the moral and ethical, they attract other beings through love who are weaker morally in order to help them to progress as well. And there is a great, great aspect of being charitable one to another. So again, we are never left alone, even when we are dealing with our own imperfections, with our own limitations. Always through the law of the natural law, which is God's law, we are always granted a new possibility. And hopefully we always have parents who are welcoming us, for us also to progress. And if we are in the situation of parents and having a wicked spirit, in a sense, sometimes it's very problematic, it's very weak in terms of morality. Let's give thanks to God that He entrusted us with these children, which are the children of God, that we can promote, at least help through loving, to respecting, to guiding, to be present in our own centered, balanced, loving way. As we continue here in the question 210 from the Spirit's book, I quote, "Through their thoughts and prayers, can parents attract a good spirit instead of an imperfect one to inhabit the body of their child?" That, I think, in the materialistic world where we live, is still a world of trials and expiation, sometimes through our on limitations of understanding the grace of life, the grace of reincarnation, we may be feeling in this infantile way, oh my God, may my child be perfect. But this is a very immature aspect. And then we can see here the proof through the answers of the superior spirits when they say no. They can, however, improve the spirit of the child to whom they gave him birth and whom has been entrusted to them. It is their duty. Ill-natured children are a trial for their parents. Within the law of love, we are all united through the love of God. So ill-natured children, now we are referring parents and children, but if you look a bit beyond, we could be that ill child in the future through the law of reincarnation, because we are bringing our limitations that we are coming back. So parents can always help that child, but not interfere in the law of reincarnation, because we are programmed in the spiritual world in relation to how our body will be in the next existence, which trials, which experiences we are undergoing. So that is always analyzed in general through the law of love. It's not punishment. We are here to learn to restructure, to harmonize ourselves with our own consciousness and the universal harmony, which sometimes we unbalanced it in the past. It's all about, when we talk about likeness or dislikes, physical or moral, it comes all down to evolving ethically, morally, and the essence of that evolution is called love. But we still are quite childish, let's put it like that. So we need to come and go up to the moment that we can be stronger from within. Carry on is still in the Spirit's book. Carry on our reflections, that we go deeper, that we broaden, that we expand our understandings. In these couple of minutes of reflections here, now focus on the question 211. I quote, where does the likeness of character come from, which so often exists among siblings, especially between twins? And the answer is, they are sympathetic spirits who are attracted by similar sentiments and who are happy to be together. Again, we are not conscious sometimes who we have been in the past, what were our likes, dislikes, or tendencies or sentiments, because through the law of love, we have the law of forgetting what we have been doing in the past. Yet, having said that, that usually is happening only on the cognitive level, but on the emotional level, there is communication which is occurring behind the five senses, and we can communicate. And of course, although we still are all imperfect and perfecting, learning and growing, surely we not only did mistakes in the past, we also did good things. So we bring good characters, good ways of being, and that is also a way that sometimes in twins is pretty much present. Not saying that with all of them, with some of them, because there also are exceptions. As we carry on in the question 294 in the Spirit's book, I quote, is the memory of the evil acts that two men committed against each other an obstacle to their mutual sympathy? And the answer is, this memory induces them to move away from each other. So although we do not remember what we did in the past, but when we are dealing with moral likeness, the sympathy or antipathy is very important. So when we, in the past existence or past existences, have been hating each other, killing each other, or whatever we did that we haven't harmonized ourselves morally, then we come back and we don't know what happened, but we have the feeling that is the deeper communication on the subjective level that we can identify. Yet that can also happen between two twins, because sometimes, as in the previous question referred, can be sympathetic spirits, same sentiments, but also sometimes is the opposite. And they hate each other or they fight amongst each other. But through the law of love, we come back as twins in order to be very close physically, so that we learn to tolerate each other, that we learn to go along each other through developing patience, developing tolerance, developing respect, which are all let's say, aspects, elements to learn to love ourselves and also learn others, up to the point that we develop our own individuality in a more ethical, moral way, and we don't need to go through those experiences in that way, as we are learning to use our free will wiser. And then carry on here in the question 212 in the Spirit's book, I quote, "In children whose bodies were born joined and who have some of their organs in common, are there two spirits, that is, two souls?" Yes, but their resemblance often makes them seem to you as they are, as though there is only one. That is the reflections that the Superior Spirit brings to us, that through the theory of reincarnation, which goes beyond some materialistic theories, which we all respect, but we are expanding our understanding through the immortality of the soul, through the law of reincarnation. So again, we come back, although it may look similar, joined bodies, but there are two souls, there are two spirits. Within the law of progress, within the law of love, granted the possibility to promote, to grow, because all the experiences on the physical level mean opportunities for us to learn to evolve our reasoning, evolve our thinking, and it's all based always in terms of for us to learn to love. That is very profound and very consoling, despite of the transitory experiences that we may undergo within the law of evolution. And the question 213, I quote, "But if spirits incarnate as twins out of sympathy, where does the aversion come from that may sometimes be noted between them? It is not a rule that twins must be sympathetic spirits. Evil spirits may desire to struggle together on this stage of life." It's interesting to reflect and even sometimes say, why would I choose to do that? Why would I, as an evil spirit, evil means imperfect. Imperfect means he evil spirit, a spirit that have been hating, who is full of vengeance, full of aggressiveness. And when the spirits say, spirits may desire to struggle together on the stage of life, because he is our school as immortal beings, to learn, to re-educate ourselves. Together in the stage of life, learn to live, in this case, twins, very close. As I mentioned previously, to learn to tolerate, learn to respect, because we are bound by the same body. Learn to forgive. Quite often when we are talking about evil spirits, meaning our own shadows, our own imperfections, our own limitations, which through the blessings of God, that is, through the blessings of the law of love, we can now try to, through the possibilities that are available, to rewrite our own history. And that is quite beautiful when we analyze it. It's never, ever to punish each other. It is to evolve and to progress. And then moving forward in the question 216 is still in the Spirit's book, I quote, "In their new existences, do individuals retain any traces of their moral character from former ones?" Yes, that can happen. However, as the spirits evolve, they change, and their social position may change as well. If a master becomes a slave, his tastes will be very different, and it will be difficult for you to recognize him. Since the spirit is the same spirit in its various incarnations, its manifestations can have certain likeness from one to the next. However, this will be modified through the customs of its new position until a noble improvement has completely changed its character. For example, the one who was proud and cruel can become humble and inhumane if it has repented. The beautiful of the law of reincarnation. We all are valuable, loving human beings in essence, beings in evolution, spirits, yet we are imperfect, perfecting ourselves. So in case we realize that we bring these imperfections, proud, and selfishness, which usually is the roots of all our conflicts, mental conflicts, emotional conflicts, relationship conflicts that we bring, the difficulties that we have. We all are here in this school earth in order to learn to be more humble, because humbleness is a strength of the soul and never a weakness. Humbleness helps us to re-edit our inner self based on the essence of Jesus' teachings, which is fundamentally based on love. Love ourselves, love others, and love life and the opportunities that the universe is giving to us. We are here to grow, to evolve, to enlighten our own shadows, as Jung teaches us. Moving forward in the question 216, I quote, during their different incarnations, do individuals retain any vestige of their physical character from previous existences? And we are invited to reflect based on the natural laws of life. The body is destroyed, and the new one has no connection with the old. Nevertheless, the spirit is reflected in the body. Although the body is only matter, it is shaped by the spirit's qualities, which impress it with a certain character that is mainly visible in the face. For this reason, the eyes have been rightly described as the mirror of the soul, which means that the face most particularly reflects the soul. Thus, it may be that individuals who are extremely unattractive physically can nevertheless project something pleasant if they are good, mindful, and humane spirits. On the other hand, there are very attractive faces that awaken nothing in you. You may even find them repulsive. So again, there are no rules exactly. When the spirits tell us here that the soul is usually expressed in the face through our eyes, because the eyes are the mirror of the soul, that is in general true, but it's also sometimes the external physical beauty may not reflect what goes on deeper down in the soul, if the soul is in a very dark place temporarily, because the energy, consciously or unconsciously, is subjective communication that can be perceived by ourselves once we develop ourselves through self-awareness. We can read it, we can feel that. So it's not to criticize any one of us, yet understanding that we all have imperfections, but it's just to understand that looking after ourselves in the face, sometimes we may find it difficult even to look in a mirror. That is required for us to analyze and reflect about, because it's almost like the soul cannot look in their own, he or she or her eyes, spiritually speaking. Speaking the eyes of the soul, the eyes of the spirit, and not the physical eyes. So train ourselves, educate ourselves, give ourselves new opportunities. We did mistakes, but we are not the mistakes. We are here to choose to now re-edit our own memories through the possibilities that are available to us. And in the question 302, still in the Spirit's book, I quote, does the affinity needed for perfect sympathy consist only in a similarity of thoughts and sentiments, or does it also consist in a uniformity of acquired knowledge? It consists in the degree of their evolution. This is how we actually connect with each other, either while we are in the physical body, incarnate with incarnate, incarnate with disincarnate, and disincarnate with incarnate, because this is the law in the universe. We are communicating with the similar ones than us. Therefore, it's important to observe in our journey of learning, as learners as we are, to become more aware of our own shadows, to become more aware of our own strengths, which always need still to be promoted, because we don't want to be carrying on through a new physical existence to be connected with our own shadows with others. We want to promote ourselves, respect everyone, but promote ourselves, so that we connect more with those who are in front of us, because we all have spiritual guides. We all have a spiritual family spirits who are with us. So we need to promote us looking forward that affinity of goodness, that affinity of friendship, that affinity of brotherhood, that affinity of goodness with amongst each other may be the favor choice in our existences, that we can expand surely as the days go by on earth. And it's important when we, in such a short moment here, reflect about the physical and moral likeness. It is important to understand we may inherit certain elements on the physical body from our parents, but the moral aspects, that is down to each individual, each soul, each spirit to conquer and to develop and promote within ourselves. This great big opportunity called reincarnation favors us to expand the goodness within, patience, tolerance, fraternity, brotherhood, the values of the super consciousness, which are so lacking in humanity these days. And yet we are reincarnating in this period precisely for us to be part in this moment of transition which the planet Earth is under. And when I say transition, I refer to the moral ethical values. I know that someone may be questioning that. What are you meaning by that? When you look around and see all the disgrace, all these wars, all this aggressiveness, all this immorality, people lie openly in this disrespect that exists. These are challenging moments on earth. And we have been prepared in the spiritual world before coming back. So carrying on studying the laws of the universe, which are based on love each other, we also learn that we have been granted the opportunity to be on earth in order for us to promote ourselves to be better today than we were yesterday, tomorrow better than we were today. And also essentially we are here in these turbulent moments which are transitory in order to choose freely, using our free will, so that we choose the pathway of dematerializing ourselves, meaning that we choose a pathway of becoming more spiritual, more humane, more dedicating time, the time that belongs to God, that we interact in reflecting more about who we are. What are our inner tendencies? What are my moral values that I bring now? Knowing that sooner than later, I will be going back, returning to the spiritual world through the disincarnation process, which is a natural process, and I will be with my own company. Then we can ask ourselves, what are the priorities on earth right now? Are we choosing to observe what we are nourishing our minds or thoughts or belief systems on a daily basis? Are we still in this slander gossiping movement, which is a very peripheral, inferior tendencies based on pride and selfishness, an illusion of the soul? Or are we already more vigilant? And when those tendencies emerge, we are choosing now to diminish the inner illusions, becoming wiser through promoting our free will, promoting our aspect of being responsible, understanding that responsibility is autonomy as a free choice, what I choose to think, what I choose to do, when I choose not to fight, not to go against anyone, respecting all the people, but above all, respecting myself, so that we carry on stimulating the goodness within ourselves. Let's do that. Let's engage with that proposal. Bear in mind, our physical likeness is based on the DNA of the physical level, of the physical science, the human science. But beyond that, we have the spiritual DNA, which is based on the immortality of the soul, of the being who is a loving being in essence, which are all of us. Let's choose to carry on promoting the goodness, the love, the light, and all what expands our consciousness, which frees us from us in relation to others. Based on the teachings of the greatest psychotherapist of all, Jesus, when he invited us more than 2,000 years ago by saying, love one another. And love in this stage means respect. Let's observe our belief systems. We can also use prayer if that helps us to promote us. Are we ready to embark on this journey of self-discovery, self-exploration, self-analysis, and self-love? I'm on that road. How about you? Hope to see you soon. Wish you much peace.